Hello there, friends. I'm David, and welcome back to Vintage and Rustic, where we gather inspiration for charming, timeless spaces that celebrate the beauty of simplicity and natural textures. Whether you're a lover of rustic farmhouse charm, a fan of shabby chic elegance, or someone who treasures antique-inspired touches, this is the place for you. Today, I want to take you on a little outdoor adventure right in our own backyards. While we often talk about cozy interiors, soft lighting, vintage finds, and reclaimed wood accents, there's just as much magic waiting outside our front doors. Think of your outdoor spaces as an extension of your home's personality. And what better way to frame that space than with a delightful, budget-friendly DIY garden fence makeover? This isn't just about throwing up a barrier. It's about creating a picture frame for your flowers, herbs, and little sitting corners. It's about turning simple garden fences into rustic backdrops, charming focal points, and inviting entryways that make even the smallest yards feel thoughtfully designed and loved. So grab your paintbrushes, old shutters, climbing vines, and vintage decor. We're about to give those fences a new lease on life. When I think about garden fences, I imagine weathered wood, peeling paint in soft whites and sage greens, and maybe a few wrought iron hooks holding old lanterns or ceramic pots. That's the beauty of rustic outdoor design. It's relaxed, forgiving, and incredibly versatile. With a bit of creativity and a modest budget, you can completely transform a plain, uninspiring fence into something that feels hand-touched and personal. Start by looking at what you already have. Maybe there's an old wooden ladder in the shed, or some chipped picture frames in the attic. Items like these can be repurposed into delightful fence decor with just a little sanding and a coat of chalk paint. Consider adding string lights for soft evening glow, or hanging mason jars filled with fairy lights for a magical touch. Use climbing plants like ivy, clematis, or morning glories to soften hard lines and add vertical greenery. With the right combination of textures, wood, metal, greenery, and light, you can create an outdoor haven that feels like an extension of your favorite rustic living room. Of course, practicality is just as important as beauty when it comes to garden fences. If your space is small, every inch counts, and your fence can serve multiple purposes. Install narrow shelve along the fence line to display potted herbs, vintage watering cans, or small garden statues. Use hanging baskets for trailing flowers or handy garden tools. Repurpose old window frames or barn doors as decorative panels to break up long stretches of fence, adding visual interest without taking up ground space. For those of us working with small urban courtyards or pocket-sized gardens, vertical gardening solutions like wall-mounted planters or pallet gardens are lifesavers. Even adding a simple trellis panel can give climbing plants a place to flourish, adding height. Now, let's talk about color, texture, and finishing touches because they truly make the difference in a successful garden fence makeover. Natural, earthy shades work beautifully for a rustic look. Think soft gray, pale sage, muted cream, or weathered wood tones. A gentle sanding technique can give new wood an aged, reclaimed appearance, while a light whitewashing brings out the grain and adds a sun-bleached softness. Don't be afraid to mix materials, either. Combine rustic wood with galvanized metal buckets, ceramic planters, or vintage signs. Add whimsical elements like birdhouses, driftwood pieces, or handmade wind chimes to give your fence personality and character. Textiles can also play a surprising role in outdoor decor. Weatherproof bunting, linen curtains, or even an old lace tablecloth repurposed as a sunshade can bring softness and romance to a rustic outdoor setting. Remember, it's the details that breathe life into a space, making it feel collected, curated, and above all, welcoming. As we wrap up this gentle little journey through DIY garden fence makeovers, I hope you're feeling inspired to look at your outdoor spaces with fresh eyes. You don't need to spend a fortune or hire a landscape designer to create a beautiful, functional backyard. Often, it's the smallest changes, a coat of paint, a few climbing plants, a repurposed window frame, that make the biggest impact. These thoughtful touches turn fences from mere boundaries into living, breathing parts of your home story. And just like inside our houses, these outdoor moments of beauty and creativity can bring peace, comfort, and a sense of timelessness to our daily lives. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Vintage and Rustic. I hope this calm, creative corner of the internet has given you a few ideas and perhaps a spark of motivation to start your own garden fence makeover. If you love this kind of cozy, rustic, antique-inspired content, be sure to stay connected with us. There's so much more to come. Whether we're decorating a tiny backyard patio, reviving a flea market find, or turning a plain fence into a romantic cottage wall, I'm always here to share the journey with you. Until next time, take care and keep creating beauty wherever you can.